can tell you what right now. I said my microphone needed to be muted, and it was muted, and now it's not. What's going on? I'm your host with the most. That's right. My brother from another mother, Patrick Little Wolf Brooks, he is taking care of family business. You know, we can't be mad. This is a special edition of the B&B Indigenous Podcast. We're talking about alternative energy development tonight. That's right. I'm excited to be talking about this subject. There's a whole bunch of things that are related to this subject and some recent developments. We're going to get into a little 7-day outlook for you guys out there. And it's going to be for your benefit. You know what I'm saying? If you guys are in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere out here in the Midwest region, I'm telling you what, man, it was warm today. It started off really cold, but that's cool. You know, I'm down. That's right. I'm just excited about this show, man. My bro, he's been working on a hydroponic system that's going to be growing a lot of vegetables, but this is something we're going to be talking about: hemp technology. Alternative energy development on Turtle Island for tribes all the way across the continent. And that's the thing that's really exciting more than anything. You know what I mean? I am your host for the night. That's right, Rock and Ron. I'm glad to have you guys with me. I hope you guys are you guys had a beautiful day today. I know it was sunny all across. It was sunny all the way across the Midwest region. That's right, your resident shit talker is back. You know what I mean? So our national 7-day outlook. The last couple of days, they said it's been about 5 days out in the Northwest and pretty much all the way across the West Coast. Temperatures in the mid-70s, actually, in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, actually. It was in the mid-60s. Well, you would say probably around 17 to 18 degrees on the lower portion of the provinces from British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, and Manitoba as well today. Or if you're from Canada, it's Manitoba. You know what I mean? It's like it's Calgary. For the Southwest, from California all the way from the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, all the way inland to Arizona. Temperatures getting up into the 90s in Phoenix today. That's right, this afternoon, I think it was like 93 degrees down there. So spring is definitely sprung. All of you allergy sufferers, I want to remind you of something real quick. If you know anything about beekeepers and or natural honey that is produced in your region, I would suggest, hold on, I did. I puffed the microphone. But that's cool. I need to articulate like I was told by Ron Erickson from KLZX Radio in Lake Oswego, Oregon at Lake Ridge High School. You need to be able to talk like this with your Q's, P's, R's, and T's. It's a pod microphone and it's not that expensive, okay, Ron? Yeah, he was a great teacher, though. Anyway, I want you to know something about bees. Bees produce honey. And you know this. You know what I mean? The honeybee. They're synonymous with honey. And one of the greatest things about that is that if you consume on a daily basis the honey that bees are making in your area, you'll never have allergies ever again. No more Alivert or any of the other over-the-counter allergy tablets that they have. A lot of those are like petrochemicals laced with, you know what I mean? And all I'm doing is looking out for you. You know what I'm saying? Right now, it's currently, let's see, what time is it? It's 9:01 on the West Coast. I hope you guys are having a beautiful night, Monday night. I know it's preparation for work again tomorrow for all of you in the working class like that. 10 o'clock Mountain Time, Central 11, and midnight on the East Coast. I'm telling you, you know, it was really exciting to think about an article I read earlier today. And first of all, I want to wish everybody happy birthday. And we didn't finish the forecast, Ron. What's up, man? So out there in the southeast, temperatures are still going to persist in the mid to upper 80s. That's right, all the way from southern Georgia, southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, southern Louisiana, and most of Florida. I will say temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 80s with a scattered chance of showers in the northern part of Florida this coming week. Around Wednesday, you could look for about a 25 to 30% chance of rain showers, which is great for the for the crops that they're growing down there. A lot of lemons, oranges, grapefruits, you know what I mean? And more down towards the tropical regions, you get mangoes and bananas and everything else like that. Moving on into Texas. Texas is starting to definitely warm up. I believe it was around 86 degrees in Houston, Texas today. Dallas, Fort Worth in the mid 80s, as well as San Antonio. So things are definitely starting to look more like spring. And because of the climate situation that we've been dealing with, like early summer, which is, we went right out of winter. Although the Northeast is still experiencing some scattered snowstorms from Maine, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and parts of northern Pennsylvania and upstate New York as well. You get a lot of those nor'easters that move in there in the late winter. 21st of this month is literally 3 days away. That's going to bring the first day of spring equinox. That's right. Our feather dance people are usually celebrating the coming of the second doorway like that, and that's the new life. And want to say thanks to Mother Earth and for the Creator for all of the blessings like that. I want to remind everybody out there, if you guys are having a birthday, if you guys have any special wishes, for your family and you've got messages, all you got to do is text me 206-303-8814. That's right. I'm going to make sure and post that number down there at the bottom. You can join us live on the broadcast if you guys have anything that you'd like to share. And you know what? I'm not really concerned. I just feel like talking. Did I drink 2 cups of coffee today? I did. But that's cool. You know what I'm saying? You got powwows? You know what I mean? You guys want to talk about your powwows? You can definitely send us your powwow flyers on Facebook.com/B&B Indigenous Podcast. And be sure to send us your latest powwow flyers on Facebook Messenger. You can send them directly to me if we're friends. Another wonderful thing. I want to say happy birthday to all the people out there having birthdays today. You know what I'm saying? Be sure to support your local businesses like that. In your area, there's a lot of tribes that have businesses. As a matter of fact, I was on the phone with my buddy. Him and his wife own a business in Rapid City, which is about 130 miles from where I'm at right now here in Gillette, Wyoming, in Rapid City. And I'll tell you, they have an awesome business. They have a lot of wonderful fabrics. They have bulk turkey feathers and stuff like that. If you're looking to, get some bustles made by your Uncle Daddy, you know what I'm saying? Little Gales is a business. It's in the Rapid City Mall. I think they're changing the name, so they're redeveloping that business, those businesses in that mall that they have out there. But it looks like a really nice place. I know it's right off of Interstate 90. You can literally look if you're traveling west, and it's right on the right-hand side of you like that. Cree's Smokehouse Jerky is the best Indian snack there is, and that is from somebody who's eaten a lot of it like that. Justice Cree Sr. wants to say, make sure and support your local native businesses, for he is one of them. He and his son are currently in travel mode like that, taking care of the powwow extraordinaire business like that, for somebody who does a lot of arena directing. What's up, Justice? Hope you guys are doing good out there. Tonight, that's right, we already covered the forecast. Want to talk about Hustle Tribe, your number one source for the freshest apparel in Indian country. Make sure and check out hustletribe.com. And once again, Chief Seattle Club. Please support the Chief Seattle Club by donating and making a huge difference for Native relatives who are in a houseless situation. You can call area code 206-715-7536. If you have any more information that you would like to get from the Chief Seattle Club, again, you can definitely give them a call at area code 206-715-7536. Man, I'm excited about something I saw. You can call the B&B Indigenous Podcast tonight, by the way, if you're excited about this like I am. I posted an article on my personal Facebook page earlier that is something that you guys should be thinking about if you're into business like I am. So I'm going to go straight into it because it needs to be talked about. And I think you understand, if you understand what this is about, you guys could read the article for yourself. I'm actually going to read some outtakes. The article that I'm sourcing is actually from The Source. So that's the name of the website if you guys are interested. And I know the internet signal is not the greatest out here, but I'm okay with that because I'm still excited about the show. The Source Weekly, you can check them out. You can literally go to their webpage. That's bendsource.com. This is an Oregon publication. This article, Oregon State receives a $10 million grant to work with 13 Native American tribes on hemp economic development, and the project to focus on creating educational and workforce development opportunities. This article brought to you by the author Sean Nealon. The Oregon State University's Global Hemp Innovation Center has received a $10 million grant to work with 13 Native American tribes to spur economic development in the western United States by developing manufacturing capabilities for materials and products made from hemp. The project, funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's National Institute of Food and Agriculture, seeks to develop sustainable supply chains based on the needs identified by an intertribal business consortium that link regional hemp production, processing, and manufacturing to create hemp products. The project also focuses on creating educational and workforce development opportunities to equip Native American students and adults for jobs in the emergent bio-based economy. This work builds on a $10 million USDA Sustainable Agricultural Systems grant the Global Hemp Innovation Center received in 2021 to begin defining economic opportunities for hemp grown in the western United States. With this new grant, the Global Hemp Innovation Center has been designated by USDA as a center of excellence. Oregon State also worked with the USDA to develop the Hemp Research Needs Roadmap, which was released last week and identifies the 4 areas of greatest need in the industry. The decriminalization of hemp with the passage of the 2018 Farm Bill created a boom of interest in the potential of hemp. Initially, there was a surge in hemp planting, primarily driven by CBD or cannabidiol demand. By 2020, hemp production has dropped off as quickly as it surged. Quote, there is still significant interest and potential in industrial uses of hemp, end quote, said Jeffrey Steiner, director of the Global Hemp Innovation Center. Quote, but it's critical that investment decisions be based on sound science and business planning to build out and scale up economic development opportunities with hemp, particularly to benefit tribal nations and other American rural communities. The grant builds on a 2022 White House executive order focused on bio-based manufacturing, meaning using renewable biological resources from land and sea, such as crops from farms, trees from forests, and fish and animals to sustainably produce food, building materials, industrial products, and energy. The properties of hemp-derived materials have potential to replace those manufactured from oil, natural gas, and coal for use in textiles, nanofibers, electronics, polymer biocomposites, and construction materials, Steiner said. The grant has 4 objectives. Number 1, support development of a Native American-led intertribal biomanufacturing consortium and establish regional business trading networks. Provide education and engagement opportunities for tribal communities by creating K through 22, but I believe that's a typo. It's K through 12 curriculum and student internships and mentorship opportunities, and presenting hemp economic development opportunities to tribal decision makers, i.e., tribal councils. Number 2, determine optimal materials, characteristics, configurations of manufacturing equipment and facilities, and needed technology providers to establish sustainable manufacturing pipelines for hemp-based materials and products that meet end product market specifications. As well, optimize the quality of materials and biomanufacturing efficiencies through hemp breeding, field production, harvest and handling, and processing systems. Oregon State is partnering with 13 tribal nations within the geographical boundaries of Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Nevada, Montana, and California. 3 other Western U.S. land grant universities, University of California, Davis, the University of Nevada, Reno, and Washington State University, as well as Stonechild College, College of the Redwoods, the USDA Agricultural Research Service, 7 Generations LLC, the Indigenous Habitat Institute, the Intertribal Agricultural Council, and hemp and other bio-based product manufacturers and businesses. Now, thanks to the Source Weekly, the bensource.com, for that wonderful article. I was just on YouTube a little while ago researching. And there's a wonderful video that I also posted to my account that I'm going to continue to post because I think it needs to be talked about with the utmost importance. Tribal communities are behind in every way, shape, and form that there is. A lot of people are still carrying a tremendous amount of anger, burdens of guilt and shame. I mean, the difference between guilt and shame, I've gotten into this before, but there is something that needs to be said about this that I think a lot of people are just going to take, they're going to continue to take for granted until they realize the opportunities that are available to those in their family, their community, and their society. Right now, West Wind Elements, as I've said before, is developing a lithium, cobalt, and nickel refinery on tribal territories in the state of Oklahoma. They've got their permits, they've got feasibility and economic impact statements, they've got all sorts of different things that, some people will say that they've been diligently working with the communities, the tribal communities especially for this, but nonetheless, there's going to be significant fallout from these extraction of resources that are completely toxic to the human condition and all other living life for that matter. Hemp batteries, otherwise known as supercapacitors. The fiber inside of the hemp plant, even in the cannabis plant, are identical, even though there are trace elements of THC or tetrahydrocannabidiol. They or cannabidiol, or otherwise known as CBDs. That this fiber that's inside the waste that comes after the production of hemp rope and other textiles, like hemp clothing and what have you, is usually just discarded. But now, since the advent of technology with regard to the understanding via the technical applications of businesses like that, battery manufacturers, for instance, there's a huge push to develop these alternative technologies that are completely superior to lithium ion technology. If lithium ion technology is allowed to go through the way that they're ramping up the infrastructure right now to do, it's going to decimate tribal territories way, way worse than you could ever imagine oil to do. I mean, it will make the land completely uninhabitable, to say the least. The video I watched earlier, of course, talks about once a lithium ion battery is, served its life purpose, it's about 1,000,000 miles that you can get in a lithium ion automobile battery for a hybrid car, like the car that I currently drive, a Toyota Camry hybrid. But the ones that they use that are dry cell lithium ion batteries like that, in the Tesla, watch what happens. And this, they can say, I'm slandering Tesla or whatever, but if Tesla were here himself, Nikola Tesla, he would be disgusted by what he sees, especially with regard to Elon Musk. And the reason why I'm saying that is because at the end of the life of these batteries like that, they catch on fire. We as tribes have a responsibility to Mother Earth, Ina Maka, Iwa Ticham, Kuyam Iwa Ticham, our beautiful Mother Earth. We have a responsibility to our children's futures to understand, superior technologies. And I've been saying this for a while. A lot of people are going to get on here. People aren't even going to pay any attention. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way that I convey the message. Maybe it's just too hard to listen to me. Maybe it's something that everybody's just too busy to hear, about the opportunities that they have available to them in the near or distant future. I don't know. What I do know is that we have a responsibility to our earth, to our children, and to ourselves. We have a responsibility to teach these people that have invaded our lands that there is superior technology available. Hemp technology is just one of many technologies available. There's hydroxy, hydrogen, oxygen, fuel on demand systems that produce hydrogen and oxygen gas from the electrolysis process and separating the water molecule. Now, I've already talked endlessly about, not storing these gases because both are extremely volatile and viscous. So they will explode if, with, even barely a little spark like that. But the applications of these gases are 110,000% more healthier than anything in the petroleum spectrum. Whether that's um, natural gas or methane gas or propane gas or acetylene or kerosene like jet fuel. There's a whole litany of different gases, unleaded and diesel, and all of the oil gradients that come from petroleum. Right now, I posted something on my page earlier that might have pissed some Indians off. You know what I'm saying? But I'm at this point, I don't care. Especially when it comes to the things that we have to deal with in our communities regarding the fallout of these materials being extracted, these resources being stolen, literally not just from our communities, but communities around the world, because the national security state would have you think that everything's dire consequences if we don't do what they say. But that's not the case. That we call that fear mongering. And who knows, maybe they're just, keeping me from saying anything and everything because they're afraid of the message, the power in this message, the reality. And maybe people don't want to listen because they don't think I'm credible. Whatever, I'm still going to say it because my daughter lives here, my son lives here, my family lives here, my people live here. You out there in the community, you live here too. You know what I mean? And it's important. If we're at this if we're in this place, in this position, we have this situation, we're standing at the crossroads right now. Okay, one way is we're going to go in their totalitarian mechanisms and their complete full spectrum dominance over everything and everyone's lives, and they're going to leave you completely sidelined with no options, opportunities, or consideration for your life, livelihood, or your well-being, and that includes the future generations and the elders in your family and community. Or the tribes are they're going to posture up like unlike they've ever done before, and they're going to go and turn it on its face and say, you know what, we're not expecting you to do anything for us. We already know what your stance is regarding our livelihood, our health, our wellness, our well-being. We understand that you don't care about our children, you don't care about our elders, you don't care about our current generations, you haven't cared about our past generations, and everything that you do since you've landed here has been poisonous, toxic, and hostile. And we're at the end of that now. If the United States Department of Agriculture is sending a $10 million grant, imagine the work that we could get done if we had a $10 billion grant, if we weren't sending money overseas to commit genocide against other groups of people so that they can access the last of those resources in a coal and oil rich community like Palestine, for instance, where genocide is currently underway in every way, shape, and form imaginable. I know it's hard for people to even hear me or listen or understand or want to, cohabitate on this situation. But there are a lot of people out there, and this is why I challenge educators. You know what I'm saying? I challenge educators because no one else is gonna. It's like, to me, I look at it like this, and this is just me speaking from a place of anger. It's like people they don't have any consideration because they've been so dumbed down by their Stockholm syndrome that they have no other way of looking at things, so they give up. It's like, to me, it's like the tribal voters in my tribe's communities. Only 12% of my people are represented on the reservation on the Oregon coast. 22% of our people are represented in Multnomah, Clackamas, and Molalla counties, or excuse me, you would say Marion County, right, and Washington County, the Portland metro area. But the rest of the people are scattered throughout the whole of the continent, some even around the world, in Paris, New Zealand, Australia, you name it. My people are all over the whole entire world. But we've got this responsibility to our children. We've got a responsibility to our kids because they need to know that the future is not bleak. It's amazing. And who knows, maybe it doesn't matter to anybody. Maybe they think that this is just the end game, so there's nothing else that can be done and no one's even going to try. Who knows? Maybe and I'm just playing devil's advocate, so don't take offense, but maybe the tribes are just too far gone to give a damn. Who knows? Maybe people can argue this back. Maybe people can actually stand up and in honor of their ancestors who fought so that we can remain on these lands and still be present in this current situation that we are right now. We are facing complete and utter decimation of our identity all the way around, and their genocidal plans for us will be complete. Maybe that's what it is. And I would love to hear your comments. I would love for you to give me a call. Area code 206-303-8814. I would love for you to join me on this show right now. I want to hear your ideas on tribal dominance in the energy sector. I would love for you to tell me what you feel is important to revitalizing your tribal communities and talking about food sovereignty being reestablished. I would like to hear your alternative energy ideas and solutions that you have for your tribal communities and educating our children to support life in our communities, as opposed to giving away all of our smartest people to the universities that would see us be destroyed completely. Because if the United States and Canada and Mexico continue on with the agenda that they've had since the boats landed, you can guarantee without a shadow of a doubt that is exactly what's going to happen to us. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm saying it like it needs to be said. And people want to just sit there and argue the fact. I'm sorry, I don't have no time to argue. These are irrefutable facts. Lithium ion is going to kill tribal communities all over the continent. And in 2026, when the Environmental Protection Agency's policy on the elimination of the combustion engine means you don't have the right legally to drive an automobile, they've already exhausted that resource and raped Mother Earth in every capacity and poisoned our waterways, our oceans, our air. They poisoned the fire. They've done all of these things. And not only that, but some tribes have become completely complicit in their Stockholm syndrome and forgotten about their connection to Mother Earth altogether. Now, I'm just saying that, with regard to the way that things are going right now, do we have a future? With a $10 million grant that was, what is earmarked for 13 different universities and colleges around the Pacific Northwest, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, California, Nevada, Arizona. I would say that the opportunities for our children to become the future educators of the entire world is starting right now, and we have a responsibility to make sure that that happens. That's why I'm fighting with everything that I got to protect my son and my daughter's future at all. This earth is not ours, it's on loan to us from our children. That's the message coming from our ancestors. You know what I mean? Let's stick our minds together and see what type of a life we can create for our children. Sitting Bull. Somebody who stood up for our rights like that and was killed by his own nephew because he wanted to be a Bureau of Indian Affairs police officer and ride around in a pen full of cows. We could still hunt, Uncle, see? Remember that pervert that was in that movie? Remember about Sitting Bull's life and the battle at Wounded, or I should say the battle at Little Bighorn and what happened at Wounded Knee? They want to do this. They want to continue to suck off all of the energy so that they can continue to compartmentalize it and commoditize it and sell it to you at cost. They don't want you to think for yourself and free yourself from economic slavery. The debauchery that they have planned for your community is to completely eliminate all of you. That way that they don't have any more trust responsibility. They don't have to send money for the Indian Health Services anymore, which they barely do anyway. They don't have to worry about educating your children or giving money for, programs and services like that because you're non-existent. You don't matter. Matter of fact, that's what the United States and Canadian governments do to First Nations all over the continent right now as it is. Not just, and not to mention Mexico because they're doing the same thing. You know what I mean? The colonial super authoritarians that think that they own everything. Imagine if you educated your children, right? You have a son or a daughter that graduates from high school and they want to get into the energy sector, alternative energy development. They go to college and they learn the craft, right? Then they get into bioengineering, for instance. Let's just say that. Not to talk about, genetically modified foods. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying creating and cultivating the most powerful hemp plant that ever grew in the soil. Food, energy, wafers for computer technology, and superconductors that are literally being developed by battery manufacturers right now. Imagine what that would be like for our kids. You know what I mean? Imagine what that's going to be like when your kids are your age right now. And they're saying, yeah, well, we used to sit there and let the United States dominate all over us and tell us that they were going to come dig up our ancestors and destroy the water and poison the air and give everybody cancer. But then we got smart and we decided that we're not going to listen to these, crooked government officials, not even in the tribal sector. We're going to take things into our own hands from now on, and we're going to be the ultimate authoritarians when it comes to making sure that everybody can continue to live on this earth that provides everything that we have. Is that crazy of me to think? No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. If you want to talk, I would love to hear from you. Give me a call, 206-303-8814. I'd love to know who's on there. Let me know who's watching, where you're from, what tribe you represent, if you represent a tribe or you don't represent a tribe, or if you're married to a tribal member or you have a tribal family. I want to hear from you. Because the reason why I'm saying these things at all to anybody is because I care. I care about our future. Lithium ion development, if these programs go through, are going to destroy the entire earth. You know what I'm saying? Cobalt mines over there and slave camps, missing and murdered indigenous women, every child matters. All of these things are interconnected and interrelated. And that's why I said what I said to MHA Tribal Council today on my Facebook post. That wasn't to be disrespectful. I was saying, hey, you got kids from the Lakota tribe going down to Denver March Powwow. Shame on you, Denver March Powwow Committee. You dancing war dance, bro, but what are you dancing for? You dancing for money, or are you dancing for your people? You dancing because it feels good, or are you dancing because, you're better than everybody else? Does that hurt to hear? Oh, well, stop silencing the voices of dissent, especially when it comes to talking about a very real world genocide that's being committed against other brown people in the world right now. And maybe people won't give me any attention or consideration. Maybe people will log off. Maybe they don't got time to sit there and listen to me rapping off. But these are important subjects that need to be discussed. Tribal communities, like I said, I challenge all you tribal communities out there. Winona LaDuke, where are you at, sister? You know what I mean? What's your thoughts on this situation? You're an alternative energy person, right? Anti-Faith Spotted Eagle standing up talking about tribal history and in connection to Mother Earth over there at Standing Rock in 2016. Where are you at, Auntie? What's your thoughts? Descendants of Uncle Russell Means and Dennis Banks and brothers and sisters that are actively involved in the American Indian movement right now. Where are you at? What's your thoughts on this situation? Tribal communities out there that are literally broken, starving, and trying to figure out really keen ways of coming up with ways of providing monetary resources for their families so that they can continue to feed them. Let me remind you of something. Food scarcity is an option. It's a choice. Especially when you have horticulture and agriculture like hydro and aquaponics solutions available to you. You don't need, cultivating or cultivatable soil right now. You don't need to live on the clay loam and the loess out there in eastern Washington, which is the most fertile soil on the entirety of this earth. And that's because of meteoric activity, by the way, if you go past 18,000 years. And don't listen to dogmatic archaeologists when talking about the subject, too. Listen to the truth in history and see how much food is being produced in that place right now. Even more than California. The bread basket, the fruit basket of the entire continent and pretty much the rest of the world, too. And I'm not talking about the petrochemicals and the forever chemicals and all the bullshit that they spray all over it. I'm talking about people that grow that food naturally, organically, and that produces so much that it's excess. So literally no one's going hungry. Because right now, let me tell you another little aspect ratio of their New World Order supremacy full spectrum domination dominion plan. Not only do they want at your children and to control their hearts, minds, bodies, and spirits and have them forget about the movement, but they also want you to be completely dependent on everything that they have and that they don't want you thinking for yourself. Imagine if you decided that you're just going to spite them all like, well, we're not giving you anything. We're taking hemp technology to the next level. Oregon State has a $10 million grant from the United States Department of Agriculture. We have hydroxy, hydrogen, oxygen fuel on demand systems. We have over unity magnetic energy devices. We have superior technology in every single way. So the United States, we're going to fold you like a taco. You know what I mean? We're just going to eat you up. Why do we have to put up with the abuse that is suffered from the petroleum industry and the petrodollar and the this hostile foreign so-called national security state? Why do we have to put up with these things? Why do our children have to worry about going to bed hungry at night? If we are growing unlimited amounts of food in our tribal communities and not listening to these fools that sit there and botch the whole entire situation every single time, and we're just dependent upon our own communities to generate that much food, bring back the buffalo, right? Listen to those ghost dancers who literally were killed for praying for a return to the way that things could be. And I'm not just talking about the old ways and going back to just living in our teepees and wickiups and huts or the longhouse or anything like that. I'm talking about what the 21st century, not their identity of the 21st century, ours. We could even go by the Mayan calendar if you want. That puts us like 9,000 years, right? At 9,000 something or other. But imagine that. We have an entire community that is self-sustaining, self-sufficient. We have our own insurance for our vehicles. We have our children being educated at the highest level of education opportunity. We have them speaking not just their own tribal languages, but all the tribal languages. Imagine that. Imagine our children being so wickedly and intensely smart that no one could get in the way of their opportunities now or in the future or ever again. And all these colonial ingrate haters with their manifesto of trying to destroy us and take the last of what's left here on Mother Earth, which she lovingly provides for all people who are willing to at least pray and offer thanks to her. They don't do that. If we continue to allow them to do whatever they want to do, they're going to continue to do it, bro. You know, and that's an argument I will challenge anybody at the Atomic Energy Commission. I'll challenge anybody at the Nuclear Energy Commission. I'll challenge anybody in the coal manufacturing sector. I'll challenge anybody out there harvesting, uranium and plutonium and talking about splitting the atom. I'll challenge any and every one of you, even if I am not a physicist. Because the superior technologies and over unity engines exist. Things that this government has killed people for. They've killed people because they want to silence amazing technology that they don't want you to have access to. Like I said before, the United States military. Anything that you have in your possession right now, the United States military has 2 generations better than what you have in your possession. My computer's already out of date by 2 years. My phone is literally 1 generation behind the newest Samsung Galaxy Ultra device that they have available on the market. Soon you won't even see these things anymore. They're just going to be integrated into daily life. But that doesn't mean that we have to depend on lithium ion extraction, poisoning up our community and them going overseas and committing genocide so that those things can be made available and sold, in your local AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile store, Imagine that our tribes are so superior and economically efficient and that we're growing mass quantities of hemp on every last acre of trust lands out there right now. Imagine that. Imagine how much product we could create. Imagine how many supercapacitors and batteries that are 8 times stronger than lithium ion that we could make available to everybody out there. Imagine that. Imagine growing your own food. Imagine having a battery system not only is self-regenerating because we have solar cells that are on the top of our automobiles, right? To get us back and forth. We could call it the horse automobile. We could name it something cool like that. The war horse, and have a whole litany of vehicles with tribal names and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? The all-new 2020 Warhorse Comanche, brought to you by Warhorse Automotive. You see what I'm saying? And it only keeps going from there. It just builds up. It's like a volcano. Boom! Next thing you know, there's mud and hot ash, and it's cascading down the sides of every direction of that mountain. It blew the top off, but that mountain's still very much intact. It just spread it out all over the place, you know what I mean? Everybody thinks, oh, that was the most destructive force ever. No, it's not destructive. It just couldn't contain itself anymore. This is the thing about eruptions to begin with. It might seem like it's destroying everything in its wake, but no. Take a look at Mount St. Helens right now, May 18th, 1980. As a matter of fact, my bro, Jared, Jared Mell, he was born on May 18th. I think he's born the same year as me, 1975. But when that mountain exploded, it killed like 47 people, right? Next thing you know, about 10 years later, the nitrogen enrichment of the soil made life. You thinking it was an explosion of the mountain, bro? Go take a look at the huckleberries that grow up on Mount St. Helens now. You know what I mean? They used to call it Spirit Lake. Now it's Crater Lake, but it's still Spirit Lake to me. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm saying. Mother Earth has solutions for everything, and human beings do too if we took the time that we were going to invest in our kids to say, you know what, we've got this. We've got this. You know, we've got this. And that's what I'm saying. You guys need to understand. I'm not talking poetry. I'm not spitting some, nasty, hate-filled message or anything like that. I'm talking about making it so that our communities are free from the economic slavery and the indentured servitude and getting up and working some punk-ass job out there that somebody collects 9/10 of the profits off of, and they pay you a little shit wage where you could barely pay your bills. Don't you get sick and tired of kissing somebody's ass in the welfare line? Huh? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm not afraid to challenge the United States government, the entirety of their crooked Congress, their Senate, their House of Representatives, their legislators, their Supreme Court, and all their ego that goes along with it, and the sycophantic bullshit reality that they want to call an election cycle for the United States president's office. I don't want to listen to any of these fools. I don't care about the people that they've got hiding in secret study groups or anything like that. I don't care about any of those things. What I care about is the equity that is established with our people taking full control of how things are done on our lands, in our environment, and for our children, and for our future, and for our children's grandchildren's grandchildren. That's what I'm talking about. And as difficult as it may be for people to sit there and hear me or whatever, people don't want to support anything I got to say. Maybe they're threatened. But I want to be the first to apologize. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry if I offend you or hurt your feelings. It's not because I'm thinking about breaking you down. No, not at all. Growing up in the American Indian movement, going to protection camps and protecting elders like the Dan sisters who had, 1,000 of their horses or cows and 500 of their horses stolen from the Bureau of Land Management. I didn't go down there to make myself look amazing. I was proud of watching what my uncles did when they stood up to the federal government while our people were being killed. What was it, 99 homicides in 1 year on the Pine Ridge Reservation, just literally 180 miles from where I'm at right now? Yeah, 99 deaths in 1 year, and not one of those deaths were investigated. And my uncles stood up, and my aunties, and all the unchies, right? All of the people out there, all the natives, all the way across the whole continent came. Same as the Akwesasnes, the Mohawks, standing up for their tribal territories, against a golf course development and blocking the bridge, and then ending up in a war with the the RCMPs and the Canadian government over control of their territories. These things happen in real time. They happened, and a lot of people got hurt, and a lot of people got killed, and there was a lot of misinformation and counterintelligence programs and things like that destroyed our tribe's identities, destroyed our women, destroyed our men, destroyed our heart and soul, and attacked our children. And a matter of fact, the infanticide that was committed was just the beginning of their totalitarianism. I know, tough thing to handle, huh? If we take the time and we open up a manufacturing base in every tribal community out there, this isn't something that we need permission from tribal council for, or band chiefs and band council. We're saying we don't want to die from cancer, acute lymphoblastic leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, carcinoma, melanoma, kidney disease, hyper or hypothyroid, diabetes, or any other poisonous situation that kills us faster than we should be dying. I mean, we all got an end time for sure. But imagine if we took that and we brought that food sovereignty back. Imagine if we brought free, unlimited energy to the people so that we're no longer dependent upon their hydroelectric projects that kill off our fish along the Inchiwana, the Columbia River, aka the Big River, or the Missouri River with its dam projects out there. U.S. Energy Commission and Portland General Electric or Pacific Gas and Electric, and stories like Aaron Brockovich, becoming somebody by fighting for people that were literally being poisoned by Pacific Gas and Electric and being sued in the largest class action lawsuit in U.S. history. Imagine educating our children so that they were so superior in science and technology that it would be like listening to a preschooler try to argue with our kids if anybody tried to doubt what they were doing, Only reason I'm saying that is because I love my people, you know what I'm saying? I know I said this is a special episode, and hey, if you guys got anything that you want to share with me, you guys got ideas on what you want to do coming up soon, we want to hear from you, you know what I'm saying? You know what, in honor of this, I'm going to play some Northern Cree. That's right. I'm going to play some Northern Cree because, first of all, I love Northern Cree. A lot of good friends out there, you know what I mean? But the big drum reminds us of some things, and I'm going to bring that up to you. Now that reminds us of that. It reminds us to be like, oh. You've been on the powwow floor, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I want to make sure my levels are right and correct. But I'll tell you what, ever since I was a little kid, since 1982, Northern Cree's been kicking ass, bro. You know what I mean? But a lot of other drums out there. Little Island Cree, Southern Cree, Blackstone, Black Lodge, Elks Whistle, Ho Chunk Station, Wisconsin Dells, Silver Cloud, Chiniki Lake, Cathedral Lake, Red Cloud, Red Stone, Red Hoop. Who else out there? Red Earth. Oh! These ancient connections, these ancient instruments that we've been using, they have a purpose, and they're not just to doll ourselves up with makeup every weekend and go out there and dance on the floor in a minstrel show, like my cousin likes to say. We're supposed to be out there on that floor honoring life. We're supposed to be out there on that floor dancing for those who can't dance, not sitting there, arguing about who didn't get picked for first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, or who didn't get picked in the drum contest and didn't get a consolation. Like a lot of the pros say, we got picked, for certain things like that because people wanted to take the time to honor those people that were out there dancing with their heart and soul. And they didn't expect anything in doing so. It's just a way that our people lived. That's what our ancestors fought so hard for. They didn't fight for you to become vain and insensitive towards people's needs. They stood up and they fought those wars to protect you and you being here right now. And every time you sit down at a powwow while your elders are out there or any other ceremonies like that, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And I'm not afraid to tell you. I've been checked. I've had people say, hey, Ron, stand up, man. What the hell's wrong with you? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. But it goes for Mother Earth. It goes for our communities. It goes for all of the people out there that want to live their life free of the machine, free of the abuse, free of the colonialism, free of being told that they have to do this way in order to live their life, because that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be honoring our relatives. We're not supposed to be asking for permission from these unconscious succubus squatters out here destroying everything that they touch since the boats landed. Are we that dependent upon them now? Because when I look at my kids out there in the Native community, no matter if they're beating the shit out of each other on the powwow floor, rolling around and punching and kicking each other, I just see them being kids. They're not, I mean, if it got too far out of control, of course, that's my responsibility as a parent, as an uncle, as a relative like that. Say, hey, knock that shit off. But we also have the responsibility of making sure that that strength that they carry within them, the strength of their ancestors, is lived to its fullest potential. That I'll tell you right now. And I'm not afraid to say it, bro. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm saying to you is I'm not trying to browbeat anybody. I'm not trying to tell anybody that they don't already know these things. A lot of our Native community are just so enamored with all of the hurt and heartache that they don't know any other way to handle it. But post-traumatic stress disorder is something that we need to heal. The destruction of our lands is something that we need to heal. The abuse of our elders in our community is something that we need to prevent. That's why I challenge administrators, the United States Attorney General Deb Haaland, a Native woman working within the plenary confines of the United States government. That's why I challenge you tribal counselors out there, you people that are corporations posing as American Indian nations. I know, it's a tough one to handle. I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. But I'm going to break it down even further. I want to say thanks to Northern Cree for one of the dopest songs ever made right there. You know what I mean? And I also want to break it down a little bit softer. My bro James Edmund Greeley, 2017 Native American Music Award winner. Probably one of the most beautiful flute players I ever heard. You know, right up there with R. Carlos Nakai. Let's take a time. Let me recenter. Sometimes I get worked up, so excited about the things that we can do, the talents of our tribes and all of its people. Sometimes I get upset and I get angry with the way that things are on this earth that I can't control. A lot of us do that. And in the process of that, we beat ourselves up. So we go to the sweat, or we go to the Sundance, or we go to the peyote teepee, or we go to our smoke dance, or our feather dance, or we put on our grass dance outfit, or our chicken dance outfit, and we go stomp those things out on the floor. And we pray. But sometimes we can get caught up in things that just aren't right. And I don't mean any disrespect to the people that work hard to bring you life and celebration, because there's a lot of things that hurt us, and I think a lot of our Native people too, as much as they might not want to hear me, as much as they might feel offended. We have to realize that there's a balance with everything. It's represented in our medicine wheel. It's represented in the songs that our ancestors sang and passed down through the generations, and our unwritten oral histories and traditions. It's in the 7 sacred teachings of my Anishinaabe people, my Nehiawak people, my Tututni, Kalapuya, Umpqua, Multnomah Clackamas, Molala people, my Osage people, our Sac and Fox people, our Menominee people, our Seminole people, our Seneca people, our Tuscarora, Cayenne-Nega, Akwesasne, Mohawk, Mohegan, Pequots, Oto, Missouri, our Atzlan people, our Mayan people, our Inca people, our Chemehuevi people, our Pomo people, our Pima people, our Maricopas, all of those tribes, our Inuit, our Tutik, Altuik, our Haida, our Simshan relatives, our Yupik relatives, our Puyallup relatives, Tulalip, Nispilam, Nisqually, Quileute, Queets, Quinault, Ho, Makah, our Yakima, Umatilla, Nikiawi, Nimipu relatives, our Cayuse, our Walla Walla relatives, our Wasco relatives, our Klickitat, Wishram, Wakayakas relatives, all of the people that have ever had genocide committed against them, which is all of us. We're putting up this fight. We're taking care of the responsibilities of our people because that's what we have to do. We have to stand up for this earth because if we don't, who will? Because the people that are out here destroying this world right now, they don't have any consideration for the future generations. And I don't care what you say, even if you come from a distorted background for tribes that support the oil industry because you've been co-opted and bought out with money because they figured a way to manipulate you. Yeah, I call people Uncle Tomahawk. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'll say it to your face. Especially when so many other people out there that don't have the same access to that money and travel expenses being paid by your tribe's, money, and the tribal councilors, sitting there rubbing shoulders with all these bigwigs in Washington, D.C., who are literally paying each other to commit murder and atrocities in other parts of the world as well as your own homelands. That's the reason why I talk about horticulture and agricultural developments. That's why I talk about alternative energy. That's why I'm excited to talk about grants and available opportunities for tribal communities because people need to hear it. And that doesn't mean I'm trying to be mean to you. It just means that I'm saying something that I feel like a lot of people are afraid to say. Does that make me a bad person? Nope. It certainly don't. It makes me a good person. That's right. I'm telling you what. Coming up soon, man, we're going to be talking about natives in the mainstream. So if you guys are excited about this show as much as I am, yeah, I'm going to be talking to all these people. We're going to be talking about more alternative energy development projects and stuff like that. What is your tribe doing to create alternative energy and opportunities for your people and your tribes? You know what I mean? What are they doing to make sure that your people are out there doing what they have to do and having the opportunity to take care of their bills and responsibilities without worry that they're going to get kicked out of their house? You know what I mean? All right, we got to groove it like that. Make sure to send us your powwow flyers like I've been telling you. And don't be disrespecting no Lakota kids like that when it comes to them talking about genocide being committed in Gaza and the West Bank or anywhere else around the world in the Congo or slave labor camps. Don't be afraid to tell them anything like that. You know what I mean? We're going to let that spin again. That's right. I'm doing this for my daughter because that's what we're supposed to do, baby. You know what I mean? We're not supposed to have our kids worried about their futures. We're not supposed to have our communities worried about being kicked out of their house or ending up on the streets like so many people. I was in Georgia the other day, dude. I'm telling you, man, and it was sad, bro. Like literally 20 people all within the same little one block strip begging for change. I'm like, man, I wish I could give you some change. I wish I could provide change that was so good for you that you would never have to ask for another red cent from any of these co-opting, hateful land invaders. You know what I mean? That's what I want for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate those of you that took the time to tune into the B&B Indigenous podcast. I'm going to grow this audience. I'm going to stay dedicated. I'm going to still be talking shit. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, oh well, I don't care. I don't care. And I'm going to say it until the cows come home. You know what I mean? Especially the Dan Ranch cows. Bureau of Land Management needs to give the descendants of Mary Carey and Clifford Dan all their horses and cows back like that, and about 2,000 more plus, I don't know, like however much you guys made off of the gold that you stole by creating the Cortez gold mine. You know what I mean? And go over there and clean up Hanford by growing industrial hemp in the soil. 7 generations of phytoremediation is what it will take to clean out all of that soil that has been poisoned since the 1950s because the Atomic and Nuclear Energy Commission want to act like they're the toughest tough guys on the earth by splitting the atom and committing mass genocide in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Yeah, I said it. More from the B&B Indigenous podcast, Natives in the Mainstream. You got birthdays you want to talk about. You got powwows in your community, round dance celebrations. You guys want to talk about your golf score if you guys are scrimmaging, success stories from your kids. The B&B Indigenous podcast wants to hear from you. That's right. Send us an email, B&B Indigenous podcast, B, letter N, letter B, indigenouspodcast@gmail.com. Don't hesitate to give us a call and let us know how you're doing. We love you. That's right, baby.